This is DRF Race of the Day. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the DRF Race of the Day for Thursday, August the 12th, race number 3 at Saratoga. Let's throw up the field for the $100,000 Saratoga Dew Handicap. Mile and an eighth on the main track, New York bred fillies and mares. Download free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com and handicap along with us. Key to the race is the number 2. Simply Ravishing, who was a very, very, very good 2-year-old last year for Ken McPeak. Won the Grade 1 Alcibiades. Ran exceptionally well, I thought, when beaten 2 lengths in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, just in traffic on the far turn through most of the stretch. Now, she didn't run very well in the Ashland, but look who she was in against. Malathot, class relief to say the least, on Thursday.
Yeah, big class relief. I guess the question with Simply Ravishing is, can she run anymore? If she can, she's going to win.
So up the Timeform US Pace Projector, not only is she the horse to beat, she might be the horse to catch. She utilized that big speed to wire him in the Alcibiades. Now, after the Ashland, she came up with a little bit of a throat issue. She was then mated, didn't catch. Now she's back off the layoff, and she was going to run earlier in the meet, but Kenny McPeak's barn was under quarantine, so she's going to have to go a mile and an eighth against older fillies and mares. Remember, she is a 3-year-old in her first start off a lengthy layoff.
Yeah, I mean, certainly all those things are, throw some questions into the mix here for a horse who, as you said, was a really good 2-year-old. 1 star so far this year. She did not run well, obviously, against much better horses. Ever since then, things have not gone well for her at all. So, listen, I guess if she's going to, take money in here, you could look at her very skeptically. This pace projector, I do think she's going to make the early lead in here, Dan. I don't think they can stop her from getting it. I don't think the kind of trip that she pulls in this race matters at all. If she can still run, she's just going to win. It doesn't matter where she is. And if she can't, being loose on the lead isn't going to matter.
Let's watch Dancing Kiki's most recent race earlier in the Saratoga meet, going 7/8 of a mile. Now, consider this is an open company, but it's also a $35,000 non-winners of 3 life claimer on the outside as the favorite, collaring the 2 horses to her inside and drawing away. Perhaps the most interesting part of her form is that she was claimed out of this race by Michael Maker. A, all of Maker's horses seem to be running this meet. B, he usually claims with an eye to stretch these horses out, and now she goes from 7 to a mile and an eighth.
Yeah, I mean, obviously she has to improve a lot if she's going to beat this field. She just beat a field of restricted claimers going 7. She looked good winning that race. She's a pretty nice horse. It is interesting that Maker and Michael Dubb reached in for this horse. Are going to stretch her out in this race. I guess that makes her interesting, Dan. I still can't see her winning.
We talked about Simply Ravishing after facing Malathot last time out. Big class relief. Maiden Beauty is up next. Claimed out of her last race. We're going to take a look at that one right now, going 7/8 of a mile. She's the beaten favorite in this race. This is a group of New York bred 2 other thens, and she was taken for $45,000. Now, she's just no match for this horse on the lead. She keeps trying and grinding. I didn't think this was the strongest field in the world. She ran okay, and it's interesting that off the claim they're stretching her out.
It is. I don't know. I've never looked at her, Dan, as a mare who wants to go that far. I mean, up to a mile, she's really good. And she ran fine in this race. She's only second best. That Dublin or Nothing's in really good form right now. Listen, Robbie Falcone took this horse. He does a great job off the claim. This is an interesting spot. Listen, if nothing else, Dan, it's a short field. You take a shot. Even if you're not good enough to win, maybe you bring home a nice check.
Espresso Shot, the number 4. I wonder if maybe Johnny Velasquez tries to take this race to Simply Ravishing, because Espresso Shot, while she's versatile, she has the kind of speed that maybe she can make the front. We haven't seen her since the Dancing Renee. I didn't love that field, but they cut her back to 6 furlongs, and I think 6 might be a little bit sharp for her. The question is, does she want a mile and an eighth?
Yeah, maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. I think the jury's still out on that. They've tried it a couple of times. They're not races that you want to judge her off of. She really had, the last time they tried it up here last summer, she had no chance in there. That's a race that was rained off the turf. She had trouble at the start and got wired on a really slow pace. Listen, I have a lot of love for this filly. I don't know what her best distance is. I'm a real big fan of hers. I don't love her last 2 races, but I still think she's pretty good. I would like to use her somewhere.
Mike Maselli's done a whale of a job with Mrs. Orb, 15 of 25 in the exacta. She's won 2 out of her last 3. Grade 3 placed at this distance last year. Let's watch the Caesar's Wish. Maselli found a great spot for her. Shipping down to Pimlico, going a 2-turn mile and a 16th. And Mrs. Orb wants this distance. You can argue that some of these don't. You're going to see her grind these horses down. I thought Horatio Carmanos gave her a pretty nice ride. Selden mid-pack, split horses entering the turn, got to the outside. Workman-like victory. She has the recency. She's an older mare. If she gets a little bit of a trip, Maybe she needs some pace, but she is going to be staying on at the end.
Yeah, she'll be around at the end. She shows up every single time. She's a really good horse. The distance is no problem for her either. I mean, she'll go all day long. Her 3 prior starts at 1.8 miles, they're all good performances, including a stakes win. Listen, she's really, really tough in here, Dan. To me, again, it all comes down to whether or not Simply Ravishing can still run, because if she can, it doesn't matter. I don't think this field can beat her. But if she can't, Mrs. Orb's probably the horse to beat.
And you signaled your attentions with that statement as we take a look at our picks in here. You're going with Simply Ravishing. Again, Mike put it succinctly. If she can still run, she's likely going to win. I'm curious to see what price she's going to be. I have a feeling she's going to take a lot of money at the windows. Malibu Beauty is kind of an unlikely winner on paper, but as Mike mentioned, this barn is very sharp. And they claimed her maybe to try to get some black type. She didn't need it. She was a stakes winner, a career debut way back in 2018. Curious about the distance. She'll be at the right price. 2,543 for Mike, 3,541 for me. It is the DRF race of the day for Thursday, the Saratoga Dew. Good luck.